Welcome to Getting to Know Google SecOps. I'm John Stoner, and today we're going to use CIDR reference lists in our YARA-L rules. CIDR reference lists build on top of the same concepts we covered in string reference lists, but have a more specific purpose. That purpose is to identify blocks of IP addresses based on CIDR notation rather than individual IP addresses. From a syntax perspective, little changes. We specify in our events section the UDM field name followed by in, CIDR, the %, and the reference list name. The reference list needs to be set to a syntax type of CIDR as well and is done within the list manager. CIDR notation is supported for both IPv4 and IPv6 within a reference list. We're going to start by using our rule that detects core-light network connections that originate outside our defined net block of 10.128.0.0/24 and connect into it. We are excluding ICMP events and are grouping our detections by the principal IP address over a 30-minute window. In the outcome section, we are generating a count of the number of events within each detection to determine how many events are occurring within our match window. When we test our rule, we can see we have 73 detections with a number of detections having numerous connection events associated with these external IP addresses. Let's look at how we could use a CIDR reference list to help us in our rule. Perhaps we've been running this type of rule for a while and we've been researching these different IP addresses and determining that anything coming from the specific net block is nothing but trouble. In our example, the IP block of interest is 4579.0.0/16. While we could use our network function net IP in range CIDR and keep appending OR statements as we find more suspicious net blocks, this approach could be difficult to maintain and can't be reused within other rules. Using a CIDR reference list provides us a way to work with these net blocks. Let's take a look at our reference list called Suspicious IP CIDR Blocks. Here we can see a few different net blocks in the list. Notice at the top of the list, the syntax type is set to CIDR. If we created a list and used the wrong syntax, we can easily change it here. We just need to ensure we adjust our rule syntax accordingly as well. Because 4579.0.0/16 is of interest, we're going to detect on these events. Notice when we test our rule, we get 8 detections, all of which fit the net block of 4579.0.0/16. However, perhaps we continue our investigation of these IP addresses and realize that the net block has legitimate traffic in it, but the 45.79.160.0/24 and 4579.168.0/24 are really the net blocks of interest. We can modify our list to focus just on those net blocks, and when we test, we return 3 detections. Much like the string reference list, if we wanted to set up a list and say detect anything that is not on the list, we could do this as well by prepending not to our reference list criteria, like this. Now we get 70 detections, that is, everything that does not match the list. CIDR reference lists can be used to define internal network ranges, partner net blocks, and the like, and then reused in rules and search to easily identify unexpected network traffic. During our demonstration, we highlighted how we can use a CIDR reference list to detect IP addresses with a broader network block without having to specify every IP address in a range or using a large OR statement. The syntax for this is UDM field followed by in, CIDR, a %, and the list name. This syntax can also be used in search, and these reference lists can be reused in multiple rules, making them nice and portable. CIDR reference lists can be used for both IPv4 and IPv6 lists, depending upon your needs. If you want to learn more about Google SecOps, check out my blog series called New to Google SecOps for more handy tips. We have a number of community YARA-L detections at our GitHub site and are continually adding more. And don't forget to engage the security community at secopscommunity.com.